financials. And part of, let me share the screen. Well, let me start. Since who has something? Well, I know Sheena, you have something. Tell me something good. Why don't we start with you? What happened last night?
I had my first commercial lead. Rather than saying that I don't handle commercial, my client asked me if I handled commercial, and I said yes, our team handles it. We've been doing it for many years, experience. Partnered up with David. He did a phenomenal job presenting, helping me, teaching me some commercial, and my client is going to decide whether she's going to sell or lease, but she's definitely going to work with us.
Cool. Very good. Very good.
Thank
My
you
something.
for help too. A lot of help.
Oh, anytime. We're all here. All for one for all. And that's what I was telling Antoinette. We were talking earlier today with Sally, is that agents, we have so much help within the market center for one thing or another, or masterminding, or hey, I need help with this, that, and the other. Some people say, I don't know where to go, what to do. So that's because they're not reaching out. Just like you had questions about commercial, you came to me, you came to David, we put it all together.
Yeah.
We're saving it. We've had other commercial transactions go through David that got saved and people got paid lots of money because of it. And we're all here to help each other out. My something good is that we had our own, I don't know where you guys, yesterday we had our new team leader, Antoinette Taylor, start. Woo-hoo-hoo. All excited about her enthusiasm and getting things rolling.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Sheena. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, fella. Anybody else want to share something good before we get started? Okay. Seeing none, we will move along. Share screen. There it is. So here's what successful agents do every day. They grow their business, they lead generate, they make seller listing presentations, they make buyer presentations, and they preview real estate. In running their business, it's market seller listings, show buyer houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management to closing, vendor management, set goals, compliance risk management, turning in your paperwork on time and properly, attend training and get coaching, and last but not least, after you have the closing, you need to learn to manage your money. So that's what successful agents do every single day. So next one, there it is. So right now, perspective, well, you guys can see what it says at the bottom. Ironically, people, when you're in your licensing class, they don't talk anything about managing your money, that's for sure, right? They never manage it. Even when I was with I think when I was with Coldwell Banker, they might have been the largest real estate company in the United States. They never really talked about managing your money. And most companies, real estate companies, don't talk about that. My degree is in marketing. I got a minor in management. I have a heavy financial and accounting background. So I was always good at managing money. My lovely bride, who has, Jean had no, lack of a better word, official business training, although she's with me now teaching business classes at NIU, had a great head for finances and how to manage money. And she and I know we've talked about that, all our different accounts and where we put our money and how we put our money and what have you. And that was the best way that she thought and how she wanted it. And, we have a vacation account, and we have a tax account, and we have a savings account, and we had a college account. And, I remember one time we went down Chase. I went to Chase to get something notarized because Frank and his staff weren't in the office. I said, I need to get something notarized. The first thing they ask you, do you have an account here? I said, well, I have many. I punched my name in, and he's like, wow, that is a lot of accounts. Like, yes, it is. He's like, most people don't have that. I said, well, that's how we manage our money. And we got into a little conversation about that. And now here's a personal banker, right? He's like, wow, that's really smart. That's what people should be doing. However, I mean, look, and I truly appreciate those of you that are here. Um, Most realtors, because we're high I, I'm one of those as well. We don't think about the financial end of the business and what are we going to do with our money. We figure, oh, okay, I'll make a lot of money and it'll all work out, which isn't really the case. There's so many agents out there, agents I've sat with, who they make a lot of money, but they spend a lot of money and they have no clue on what their profits are and what they should be. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. So habits for a financially sound business. Set a profit goal that funds your big life and pursues the activities to achieve it. I mean, that's the idea. You know, what do you want to go? This is what I'd like to make. Well, that's nice. What do you want to make? How much do you want to keep? And that's where we're going to start. Estimate, save for, and pay your taxes on time, because you know what's the old joke, the old saying, there's two certain things in life, dying and paying taxes. So those are the two certains. Use the proven models and systems of the MREA chart of accounts. Be fiscally savvy by reviewing your financials monthly. Pay yourself a salary and prepare now for a financial secure future. So we have all kinds of spreadsheets and everything else to put your money in. The best system is the one that you'll use. That's for sure. So Sheena, what, and let anyone jump in. What was when you started, when your business started exploding, what was financially, what were some of the surprises that you had along the way?
I was one of those agents you were talking about that didn't take care of their finances. So business exploded. I would just focus on that business and think that just now things are different. Good. So, and that's the important part, because most people couldn't tell you at the end of the year how much they profited. And most real estate companies don't necessarily want you to know that. We talk about our cap all the time. Most other companies talk about splits. And when I'm talking to agents with other firms, I say, well, how much did you pay the company? Well, this is what I made. I said, well, then what was your, and when you say, what was your GCI? They go, like, our company never talks about that. I'm like, there's a reason for that, because they don't want you to know how much you paid them. My last year at Coldwell Banker, I paid them over $50,000. Yeah. So, and I was one of the better splits in the office. So, but they would never talk about that portion of it. They talked about volume and how much you made. Even the reports, I found some of my old reports when we were cleaning out some of our boxes. I found some of my old reports and it never mentioned the GCI or anything else, which is I find kind of funny, because they don't want you. And many agents, and it says here, confuse income with profit. Antoinette, we were talking about this yesterday. When we talked about adjusted volume, for awards, the Realtor Board give out awards for volume. They don't talk about how much anybody makes. So if let's say I'm a discounter and I'm going to list a house for $500 and I get $30 million in volume, but I don't make much. And Sheena, she charges her normal commission and she sells, a third of what I do, but she made more money. I'll get the big awards and the big plaque, but she makes more money. Who's in the better position? It's the person who makes more money, right? And that's where there's a confusion about income and volume and all that. So money is good for the good it can do. Talked about this before. I'm not so sure that's Gary Keller's quote, but he does say that, and it is attributed. I think there's other people who might have said that as well. I remember, I think it was not too long after I was out of college, I read a book that God wants you to be wealthy. And it was turning that, those of us who are, I can't say maybe it's just Catholics, but, they talk about the evils of money and
And, it's from the Bible, it's easier for a camel to get through an eye of a needle than it is for a rich person to get to heaven. And it talks maybe about the evils of money. But this book said God wants you to be wealthy because of all the good you can do with your money. When you're wealthy and you're a good person, there's a lot of good and help that you can spread throughout the world that if you weren't. So, and the purpose of a business is profit. That's why a business is that's why you have a business. That's why you run a real estate business. That's why you have a Keller Williams. Antoinette, I gave you this yesterday.
Yes, thank you, Joe. I got it.
You're welcome. The 25 economic fundamentals of a Keller Williams office. And number 24 is profit is not the purpose, but is the goal and fundamental measurement of a healthy business. So, Joe may sell 10 million in real estate and Sheena sells 8. But if Sheena runs her business better and makes more money, makes a bigger profit than Joe, who's more successful, that would be Sheena, because she's keeping more of her money. I might be, I get the bigger award, woo, 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 big whoop, right? But who's keeping most of the money? So that's the idea: is how can you measure your profit? Okay. So now we're talking about financially sound business practices. There we go. I'm not a big fan of this chart, but it talks about how you break down your money and where you put it, how you do it, your commission check. It can get a little confusing. But we do have costs of sales, and we'll get into that. And cost of sales is, you have to pay your Keller Williams Realty royalty. You have to pay your split. So that's all part of the cost of sales, which you have to take into account when you're figuring out what you're going to have at the end, right? I mean, it's part of doing business. I pay cap, my team members pay cap. We all have people we got to pay. Okay, so this is a nice graphic, and then let me make it bigger. It shows kind of how it gets broken down. Who's financially sound, who's not. No money in tax savings, no money in business savings. That's not financially sound. Sheena, this is what we were talking about. And we were all, when you first get into this business, you don't really know, where to go, what to do with it. And I remember here on this one on the right, the self-employment tax. I remember the first time I had to pay that extra 15%. It's like, what? Huh? Oh, and I have some background in accounting. And I'm like, so even though I pay into this over here and this over there, I still got to pay an extra 15%. I think it was that next year then that I incorporated. So this is everything you've got to take into account. So when you're, when you're getting your check, there's people that got to get paid other than just you, and where it goes. And part of the purpose of Jean and I having all these other accounts was it makes it harder to rob Peter to pay Paul, as the saying goes. That money you put away to pay for the taxes, but you got bills over here to pay. Oh, maybe we take a little bit out of the vacation fund. I've told people this before, our vacation account, and I believe people joining us. Our vacation account, I believe, is still a passbook account. Some of you who are too young to even know what a passbook account is, it was, let me find something that looks like it. It's actually a little book that you would get and you would open up, and you'd have to get out of your car, go into the bank, wait in line to either make the deposit or especially the big part was withdrawal. So you'd have to wait in line, you have to fill out a form, and then they would take the thing and they would put it in the printer. So we purposely
Remember those, Joe?
Oh, there we go. We purposely put our vacation. We might be the only people at the bank who still have one. We purposely put our vacation money into that account so that we couldn't just log onto the computer or go on our phone and transfer the money over real easy. So it had to be a concerted effort that if we were going to take money out of our vacation account, it had to be a really good reason. So here's what we were just talking about. the MREA models. Okay, let's take a look at some of those now and how it works. So this is the MREA model of accounts. And you know what, I should open up. So you're gonna be able to see it all on the screen. So MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, that's what this stands for. And if you want to see all the chart of accounts and everything else, I think if you go to the one thing, it's there, or if you go to MRE and type in MREA chart of accounts, you'll find it in Google. Cost of sales, that's what we were talking about at 30%. That should be your cost of sales. And that's, your cap, your royalty, and there's a few other things that'll go in there. We'll get into that. Operating expenses, 30%, and then your net income profit should be 40%. So you've probably heard the saying, for those of you who've been around, 30, 30, 40. That's our economic model. That's what you should be striving for, is the cost of sales 30%, your operating expenses 30%, and your net income profit of 40%. So a good, healthy business is 30, 30, 40. There's no other business really on the planet that has a 40% profit. Not Amazon, not Google, not IBM. But as a real estate business owner, we can do that. We can have a 40% profit. So here's how it breaks down. When if you get a 10,000 commission check, 3,000 should be your cost of sales. Operating expense should be about 3,000, and then your profit should be 4,000. Ta-da! They don't take into account a lot, and I'm gonna show you a spreadsheet that I have that I like to use, and how this breaks down. Let me go to that right now. Excuse me for a second while I open up. Let's see, where did I put it? One second while I open it up. Yep, this is what the ALC is going to be going over tomorrow. Okay, Joe, you got to figure out.
Need help, Joe?
No, well, yes, but not with this anyway. There's it's just moving things around. So here's a spreadsheet that I use, and we use with our MAPS coach. It breaks it down a lot better. So if your business is $100,000, let's say your GCI, your cost of sale will be about 30,000. If it's 30%, your total operating expense is 42.2. See, that comes down from down here. And then, compensations, that would be paying your accountant, that would be paying an assistant for other services. Listing management, so they call this lead gen here. Listing management and general prospect and marketing. Listing management might be your 360 virtual tours. You're paying for your any of your software if you're going to pay for or do your own virtual staging. General prospecting and marketing might be if you're using LandVoice or if you're using your mailers and what have you. Education and coaching. 9,000 I put in there. Communication. And if you see on the right-hand side, it does the calculations for you. And then here's the recommended amounts based upon the MREA business models. So they say, compensation shouldn't be any more than 15% of what you're making. Now, if you're paying out more than that, you have to decide, should you be paying less, or maybe you need to get your GCI up to where it should be. Okay, because there's two sides. We got to remember, there's two sides of that. There's your income and your expenses. If you're having a down year, your expenses probably are pretty steady. So that means you need to get your butt in gear, maybe spend more money and doing more prospecting and marketing. And then here's the percentage that these say they are, and then here's what's recommended based upon the MREA. And then one thing you'll notice that MREA doesn't account for, because they try to, what MREA does, and if anybody wants a spreadsheet, I'm happy to email it to them, to you. Okay. I thought like they didn't have education for a while in there. And I kept saying, well, you want me to spend $1,000 a month on MAPS coaching, but then you don't count for it in the education portion. Why isn't there a line for that? Well, because it's, so what this does is it's so that Joe can match his business to Sheena, who can match it to Antoinette, who can match it to every other agent out there. Okay, so that's the idea of all this. But now, if you notice, charitable donations aren't part of that, nor is owner's health insurance. Auto, I also fought for this. Auto and auto insurance expenses, the insurance part of it. I said that owner's health insurance should be in there. So everybody wants a copy. So Nicole, maybe how can I put a link, or can I attach this in the? I bet you I can I? Okay, I think I can attach it in here. We'll give that a try before we're over. So, owner's health insurance. Well, they said it's too much of a wild card, and they want to keep everyone to be able to compare their business across the board. So that's a little spreadsheet that I got, and love using it. So that helps, and it really helps. And if you should be doing this monthly to compare. Now, as an aside, I guess I'll tell you now, one other thing that I started doing, and it's funny, if you listen, Gary Keller just came out with his latest Think Like a Millionaire. No, wait, Nate, what is it? Think Like a CEO. Him and Jay's latest podcast. I started 6-7 years ago. Every quarter, I look at every single account that we have. Mentioned we have lots of accounts, but it's every single account that we have, well, now that we had 529s at that point in time, now there's 0. And it's just a snapshot that as of this date, let's say the quarter, so the last one was December 31st, 2020. I take every account that we have, our investments, our checking accounts, our savings accounts, the business ones included in that, life insurance, cash values. I also started tracking our mortgage balance, how much our mortgage balance was. Every single thing that we have financially, thank goodness we don't have any car payments at this time. I'm really happy about that. So we just take whatever the balance is as of the date on that quarter. So December 31st, March 31st, June 30th. And then you're able to see what went up, what went down. Jay Pampison, I think he says he does it Gary does it every month. Jay said he was doing it every month, but now they do it, him and his wife do it every 2 weeks. So you can see, and it's cool as you can see especially when you're seeing your mortgage balance go down. But your life insurance, the cash values, and every account you can see. And during the downturns of the stock market, you're seeing our IRAs and what have you, where they're going, which account's going up, which account's going down. And it's a snapshot. It's not judgment. It's not anything else. It's, okay, where are we? What are we doing? How are we doing? So, and we Gene and I set a goal 5 years ago. I think we got 4 years left to have the mortgage paid off and on our home. And we calculated how much it was going to take each month. And even when we hit the pandemic last year, we were like, okay, do we back off on that? Like, no, we don't. We need to work extra hard to make sure we can still make that X number of dollars extra payment per month to reach our goal of when we want the house paid off. We're going to plow through and make sure that happens. So everyone should be looking at their finances at least once a quarter to say, here's where we are. And this is how we can do to improve it one way or another. So that's my thought on that. Switching to laptop. Let's see if I can add. Okay. File, your computer. Desktop is our search. Oh, well, I got it. Remind me before we get off, I got to figure out where I put it in what file. Let's see if it's here. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Okay, remind me before we get off, I'll attach the file so everybody can get it. So we talk about the flow of money and how that goes, okay? Income, what goes in, expenses, what goes out, profit is what's left. That's pretty simple, right? You would think. However, people don't always follow that. And most realtors don't talk about profit. They talk about that, they brag about their volume or their GCI. But as our example, when you talked about me and Sheena being more successful, she sold less but kept more of her money. That's more successful. Who would like to work less and make more money? I'm in on that. I don't know anybody else. That's the objective. I remember I was in a session once with Gary Keller, and he was talking about that, and he goes, I had an agent bragging to me, and you got to say it like a Texan. She was bragging to me. She says, I made $1 million last year. And he's like, fantastic. How many hours did you work a week? And she said 70. And he goes, come back and brag to me when you're working 15 hours a week and making $1 million. He goes, that's something to brag about. So it's kind of putting it in perspective.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say something. That mentality, I kind of inherited midway in my career. I would start at the end of each transaction. I would look at my profit after the expenses and the cost of sale. And then I'd start calculating what I'd actually made per hour. And that kind of motivated and fueled me to be more conscious of how I showed property, how I qualified the buyer, because you're right. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're selling $1 million, but you're working 70 hours and you have no balance. You know what I mean? So then I realized I've got to ask more specific questions. I was looking, someone was telling me, just to give you an example, I would work with buyers who said, oh, I want, a master bedroom this size. And then they'd send me listings and say, oh, I want to see this property, that property. And I'd look at the dimensions and they're like 14 by 12. I'm like, no. We're not, but in the beginning of my career, I showed them everything. Later on, I realized I need to have these extra set of eyes to really hone in on what they're looking for. So my time is preserved and that I can make more in the end. So you're right, but anyway, I just wanted to share my kind of something I did, a strategy for myself. And then when I realized that there were transactions I made $200 on per hour versus $75 per hour, I was like, holy cow, I want to make that 200 again. So anyway, just share that.
No, that's a wise way to look at it. And that's why, most of you have heard me say, we shouldn't show any buyers any more than 10, maybe 12, 15 homes. And when I work with any buyer, I say, if we're seeing that and you haven't bought one, there's a problem. Either I don't know what you want or you don't know what you want. And after like 10, we're going to have to regroup. Because if I show you 10 3-bedroom, 2-bath split levels in the neighborhood you want, in the schools you want, and you don't buy one, maybe you're not looking for a split level. Or maybe I don't understand what it is that you were looking for in a home. And again, Antoinette, maybe we need to be, what are we missing? What are we not doing? And that's, that goes from, that's an old marketing slogan, ready, fire, aim. You always kind of gotta, okay, boom, I'm off a little bit. I have got to readjust. And that's how you save time and effort and everything else. And, we've all had the buyers. I know I've had it. I've got so much time and so many homes invested in these people. I gotta, instead of cutting them loose, we're like, okay, I got to find some because I finally got to get paid. We've all had those. So, so here's, they talk about page 7 of your participant guide. Here's the question. How much money do you want in the bank at the end of the year? Now, Sheena, you're capped out now, aren't you? Woo. You roll over in April or May, if I remember correctly.
April, yes.
April. So you got the beginning of the spring market to make some hay before you roll over.
I have 4 closings this month, or February. Yes.
4?
Yes. So.
I think you should push them off to April, by the way. But, no, just kidding. There's, it's funny, is there was a newer agent in the market center a couple of years ago, and I forgot who capped out, and I gave him a high five, and he was observing. Then a few days later, I think I said something else. Hey, didn't you just had that closing? It was capped. Congratulations. And he looked at me and he goes, "You're really happy when agents cap and are capped." I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "But you don't get any money." I said, "Well, that's part of our value proposition. Part of our value is earning that right to get some 100% transactions. I mean, that's a beautiful thing." He's like, "But as the business owner, why would you be happy about that?" I go, "Because that's part of who we are." He was just so shocked that I was like, "Woo, yeah, you got a 100% commission check." So, I mean, it is. I mean, I don't know if you can hear the joy in my voice. I think that's awesome. I mean, 4 transactions at 100%, that's it. And that's what it's all about. So you talk about the profit. How much do you want to make in profit at the end of the year? That's where you should start your goal. How many homes do you need to sell to achieve that goal? And then how can I maximize the expenses and maximize my net income? Okay. Any questions on how this works? I think it's pretty simple, but again, thinking you got to turn that switch. Think like a business person. We have all those posters all over our market center about that. So income from real estate business, listing, sales, referrals, leasing income. Hey, don't forget about referrals. I mean, there's nothing when you refer something out to somebody and you really do no work and then a check shows up. But conversely, you should be getting the ones coming in too. I mean, don't forget about Command and the referral program and everything else. Referrals are awesome. I mean, the phone rings, say, "Hey, Joe, it's an agent that you know in Arizona or you've done business with." I mean, we've been doing some joint marketing with an agent we've done business back and forth with from Florida. There's nothing better. And she's like, "Hi, my girlfriend that I grew up with over here is selling her house. Go list it." I spent no money, and it's a come list me. I'm happy to pay a referral fee on it. They already know you, like you, and trust you because somebody else did all the selling for you. And then, I have friends, one friend, her and God rest his soul, or her late husband, were in the military. Whenever they moved, I helped them. I helped them pick 2 or 3 agents, depending on who it was. They picked one of them. I got a referral fee on their sale. Where they were going, I found them an agent in that area. They had to buy a house because they were now going to be homeless and transferred. So they would buy a house. I got a referral fee. It just showed up. So don't forget about that. It's a nice way to add income. And then leasing. Leases, depending on what they are and where they are, can be another nice source of income. Expenses. Here's cost of sale. And this is kind of breaking down what we were talking about. The cost expenses related to each transaction to make. The cost of sales, commissions paid to your office, royalty fees paid to KW or whoever you happen to be with. Commissions are split, paid to employees or independent contractors involved in the sales. So that's where if you're paying out a referral fee, they say you should count that as well as part of your cost of sales. Okay. And then they say are independent contractors involved in the sales. If you're hiring a transaction management or what have you, there are salaries and stuff for that to go through as well. Okay. So digging into the cost of sales. Okay. You have not yet capped on company dollar or royalty. So now Sheena's cost of sales right now on those 4 transactions was $60 a transaction. I mean, just do the math on that. It would be like 0.0001% or something. And because of how we do it, were some of them listings? So then you got the minus whatever from the other agent, which took care of all that. So that was kind of zero. But this is how it works in the with the split and how you calculate what the commission's going to be. Okay, this is just the formula for that. Okay, and then there's number 4. If you capped on both, cost of sale is pretty much zero. That's a beautiful thing. Does anybody have any questions on that? And how, imagine everyone knows how their commissions are paid. Okay, cool. Next, build your future. So here we go, guys. So it's funny, this number that's up here seems to be pretty popular. People want to say, I want to earn $100,000. Heard a lot in coaching and consulting with agents. What, and I don't even know what I like to add in this is why. Why do you want to earn $100,000? Are there any specific goals other than it just being a nice round number? Are there any specific goals? What affects your life by your profit being $100,000? What are you going to do with that $100,000? Is that a Disney vacation? Is it who knows, not many people going on cruises right now, or Disney cruise. I'll tell you what, if the Disney cruises get rolling again, they're pretty amazing. Is that a trip to Mexico? Is that a family reunion? Is your goal to someday have everyone spend Christmas at a resort in Mexico or Hawaii, or maybe it's paying down your debt? What? I'll use Gary's quote. Why? Say it like a Texan. Why do you want to earn that $100,000 in profit? Okay, and that's what you need to tie into your everyday work. Why are you doing that? Is it so that you can help support your, Joey's chasing his dream of being a college football coach. We've been lucky enough to be able to help him out. Well, they don't really pay college football coaches when they're first starting out, pretty much anything. We were in a position to be able to do that, partly because he had such great grades and his football money and whatever. College didn't cost as much as we had anticipated. So we were happy to help him out as he went along the way. So what is the why? We had a new why born in August, our granddaughter. How are we going to be able to help her? So why are you doing what you're doing? Real estate's terrific. Real estate gives you lots of opportunities. Gives you lots of opportunity to spend money, lots of opportunity to spend time, but there's really no limit to how much you can make if you set up your business properly. But why are you doing this? Why are we dealing with people in the top 5 most stressful things they're doing in their life every year? And that's what we do on a daily basis. We have a client, a longtime friends now. She is I don't know if she's a clinical psychiatrist, psychologist, I forgot what her actually. She works at one of the large mental health centers, and she deals with like mass murderers and ex murderers and that kind of stuff. And when we were helping them, we've helped them buy and sell a few homes. And the stress of her helping her buy and sell, I was at the house, we were talking about something. She's like, I don't know how you do this every day. You got to be crazy. And I started laughing. She's like, what? I go, well, you got the degree. I guess I'm crazy. She's like, this is so stressful. I said, so you told me a couple of days ago you had to go interview with some, I don't even tell you what the guy did. But the people he was dealing with aren't alive anymore. I said, so you had to go into and talk with someone like that, and you're telling me what I do is crazy? She's like, yeah, I'm safe. I'm like, well, okay. So the stress is there. So, but why? I love real estate. I love doing this. Been doing it for 28 years. But why do we do it every day? What's the end result? It's not just because I love homes. It's the end result. As a byproduct of helping people buy and sell homes, we get paid. But why are we looking at this unlimited income? Why are we looking at Why aren't we selling televisions instead? But the outcome could be the same. Okay. So here's your net profit goal. Your gross profit, you divide it by 60%. Okay. And then your gross commission income, you divide that by 40%. And home sales, divide that by the average commission income. And so they were using $7,500, which isn't too far off from our market center. It's probably about 7. Okay. So they have to do 56 transactions, anticipated cost of sale, $23,000. And for us, it would be 25. Okay. They were using a $20,000 cap there. Operating expense budget, divide that by, or multiply it by 30%. So you have 124,999. Okay. So that's how they calculated all that. I think that seems to be awful high. So GCI of 416,000, net profit goal 100,000. So 30, 30, 40. Let me check their math just to be example. Oops. Yeah, their math's off. Oh, gross, where did they get in the net profit goal? That's a little bit high in the numbers that I would be using, but we'll just go with what they have here. I looked this yesterday. Mariana Bonner recommends 30% of GCI for operating. Okay, so you kind of get the idea of what and how to do the math. So best practices. So any questions? I have some other, now you can look it up online. We have some other classes. You can probably pull them up right on Connect Command, the business planning clinic. And then if anybody wants, there's forms on how to do the calculations on that. And it breaks it down and how many sellers you need, how many buyers you need, how to break that down. For a long time, my business, and I know that, has always been listing heavy. My percentage, they say a truly healthy real estate business is 50-50. Listings and buyers. Okay, Sheena, do you even know what your percentage has been over the years?
It's 70-30.
Is a pretty good guess.
70
More listings or more buyers?
listings.
Listings, okay, so you're kind of where we were. It's kind of moved a little bit closer in the middle, but I was getting teased for a while. Everyone's house I was listing was moving somewhere. They were all going out. No one was sticking around for a long time. And like, are you the curse for the area, or a lot of estates and what have you? Or seniors who are going to retirement communities. So you have to know that. And the other thing that needs to be figured out is that would be, Gina, and I'm the perfect example, the lost opportunity. How are we not gaining more buyers from those listings? And what marketing do we need to do better to bring in more buyers to get that? That's a big gap. So that 40% is a gap that you need to figure out, or we need to figure out how to fill that and do better marketing and more marketing to bring in more buyers, not to bring down your listings to equal your buyers, but how to bring up your buyers to equal the number of listings. You see, I mean, that's something that I've always been working on to make sure you're getting that. The joke is the only thing worse than having a listing that doesn't sell as having a listing that sells too quickly so you don't get enough marketing out there. Seriously, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. You're happy to do it and everything else, but it's like, wow, I didn't get the exposure that maybe I really wanted to by having the sign out there longer, by having it out there on the websites longer, and what have you. So it's kind of a balance, right? So best practice. So any questions so far on finances and what have you? I know I'm going fast. Nothing? Anything in the chat? No? Okay, cool. So best practices. Gain clarity on your life, your big life hopes and dreams. That's where I was talking about why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to earn 100,000? Why do you want to earn 50,000? Why do you want to earn 200,000? Okay. Set up your personal and business budgets. One thing that I don't know if everybody has been on James Shaw's call. Every morning at 7 a.m. Pivot Shift Ahead. It's amazing, and if you can always watch the replay. But last March, I've been on the call. I think I missed 4 since he was on in March. And one of the big things he did, and we did here as a market center, but Gene and I did personally, he had everyone take 3 months worth of their bank statements and their credit card statements and go through every single one line by line. Dean loved telling the story. He found it was like a $25 charge he was paying every month since like 1998 for Google search engine SEO search engine. He's like, I did the math. I figured I was just paying it, and it just kept going, and I never reviewed it and why. So there was a huge savings. I mean, you just if you do that every couple of months or whatever, just review everything. What am I spending money on that I shouldn't be? Or how can I lower the costs? We did it a lot in the market center. We called up every vendor, said, what can we do? Oh, we're in a pandemic now. What can we do? What can you do? How can you give me a better deal? And many of them were willing. I have Sirius XM radio in my car. I enjoy a few of the channels, and I called them up and I said, just so you know, my subscription's coming up next month. I didn't even have to say anything. They're like, we'll give you a great deal and we'll go here. And it was even lower than I was going to ask for. So they led with, they knew I was probably thinking about canceling because of the pandemic had just hit and what have you. So don't be afraid to do that. It's you owe it to yourself. Okay. Set up your business entity. That's, whether you're going to be incorporated, as an S Corp or an LLC, seek out an attorney and an accountant that understands real estate and what have you and how to do that. Look, open additional bank accounts for taxes, expenses, and other savings. Download and use the MREA chart of accounts. Again, just type in MREA chart of accounts in Google and you'll find them. I know they're on Connect. I know they're in, I think, in the One Thing as well, and there are other documents. There's also there's a website for MREA. I can't remember exactly what it is. It might just be MREA.com. Careful when you Google it, type in just website. Purchase, download tax accounting software. Sheena, Shaheen, anyone what tax accounting software? I know Mary was on too.
Once I hired a CPA, an accountant, oh my God, my business has gotten so much better. I am able to view exactly what you're going over, what my costs are, what I'm paying for marketing. Anyway, we use QuickBooks and love it. I definitely recommend hiring a tax accountant.
There you go. Couldn't have said better myself. So, but however, and when you're using a QuickBooks and everything else, it actually saves. Are you talking, Sheena, to us or no?
No, it's not. Sorry.
It saves you money because the accountant and what have you has to do less work because you get it all in there, it's getting done, and it sets it up, and then you can review your reports monthly. We send our P&L to our, I say we, Gene and I in our business, we review our P&L every single month with our Keller Williams Maps coach. And then obviously, as you know, with the Market Center, we have to review our financials every month. Keller Williams in our region reviews our financials. And then we have a financial committee meeting, which we had this morning. And we went over almost every single detail, relatively speaking, close line to line. What's working, what's not working, can we save? We run things pretty lean and mean here. Hire a CPA, accountant, or attorney. Set dates to calculate and pay your estimated taxes. Oh yeah, put them in your phone. There's nothing worse. I had one, and I think it was the post office issue, but it was postmarked a day late, and on an $18 like fee I had to pay, I got fined $50. Yeah. What is that, like almost four times what it was like 400%. But that's the minimum charge penalty that they charge you. And then what you have to do to have it waived is so much work. And I talked to my accountant, like, it's like a whole page of things you got to do to prove that you paid it on time. He's like, pay it. Just pay it. Don't spend the few hours. And so now you're talking about $1 per hour. To save $50, I would have to spend an hour or two pulling papers together. It's just not worth it. So, set dates. Put reminders in your phone on wherever you're going to get binged and bonged, so you don't miss making those payments. So, prepare your future, insurance, savings, investments. You should have financial advice from professionals. Do you have enough insurance on your car, on your home? Life insurance. Do you have enough life insurance? Most people are underinsured, and especially for some of you younger people on the line, life insurance is pretty inexpensive, especially if you're doing a term policy or what have you. But God forbid, what would happen if you couldn't work anymore? If something happened to you. Disability insurance. I forgot what it said. I think it's 1 in 3 people will use disability. It might even be higher than that in their business lifetime. So. And your investments, are you investing in all the right spots? Are you putting money away for college? Are you putting in the right places? Are you putting money away for your retirement? Where's your, if you're not taking advantage of the Keller Williams profit share, you should. That's pretty much helped pay for our boys' college education. That money was going right into the 529s. You can direct wherever that money goes. You can put it into your IRA or your SEP or whatever you have. You can even do a self-directed IRA to buy investment properties and what have you. See, I'm not an investment consultant, but you got to make sure you follow the rules. So make sure you're talking to the people that you should be talking to make sure you and your money are protected and taken care of. And if you ever want to sit down with me and discuss that stuff, I'm happy to. I'm happy to sit with you. I'm happy to help you come up with a plan. So, ahas to achievement. Okay, what ahas do you guys have from this?
The 30, 30, 40.
Okay, very good, very good. Yes, it rolls off your tongue, doesn't it, once you think about it?
Yeah, it's like it rhymes or something. It's stuck. It's stuck for sure.
Sure. Sheena, you're going to say something?
Reviewing our statements monthly, reviewing our P&Ls monthly.
Very good. Yeah, it's when you're paying attention to your money, it's amazing how you can stay on track. That's like the old, several of you have been to some of the Keller Williams sessions. They talk about an airplane flying from here to Hawaii. It's not one straight line. There's like, a couple thousands adjustments. If you look at it, it's back, forth, adjusting for the wind and what have you. As opposed to, flying for an hour, being off track, and then, we got to come all the way back. There's constant adjustment when you're flying, when you're driving, whatever. And your finances should be the same way. So you should keep that narrow, because hey, I'll tell you what, I've had years, I have years where, we're selling, we're going, should we spend money on it? Sure. Should we spend? Yeah, but let's try that. Well, let's try that too. And then all of a sudden he's like, how much are we spending a month on all this stuff? And are you getting your return on investment? In the MREA, I think in the shift, Gary mentions it too, is red light, green light, holding your money accountable. Is this getting the return on investment? We were recently talking about the mailers from Quantum Digital. It was, we'd get a closing, boom, we'd send out a just sold, a couple hundred of them. They have the QR code or they log in, and we would get lots of leads. We'd follow up, then we put them in an 8x8. We had a system. And then over the past couple of years, that the return just dwindled. We're not sure why. We said, okay, maybe we got to send out a few more. So we sent out a few more, and we still weren't getting really any response. My guess is they're just going in and typing the address in to Google or Yahoo or whatever they're using and getting the information that way instead of needing to scan our QR code or type in the number. They're just getting it on their own without being able to contact us. So what was that doing? That was not getting the return on investment that we were getting. So we're shifting. We're doing more Facebook ads, which are a lot less expensive. We're doing more door hangers. We're adjusting so that we can get a return on investment of the money that we're spending. Any other questions or ahas or things you got from this?
I was just gonna say, what's the definition of insanity, right?
There you go. Doing the
I-
same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
So yeah, I love that, just going back and relooking at everything. And also just your reiteration about time. I had this discussion with my daughter, my oldest, last week. She's completely type A, overthinker, CPA. So she's got all the numbers going in her head, and this is nothing to do with business, but really the time concept translates to everything in your life. And she's remodeling her condo, and she's talking about, oh, this costs this much, and I'd have to, I don't know if I want to hire somebody to do this. And I'm just like, you're a flipping CPA. Your amount per hour is probably at least $150. Is it worth it to hire that contractor to do your drywall? Come on. And it goes, for mowing your lawn or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you gotta balance it out. And that's where, I remember Gene and I were talking about one time we're so busy. She's like, I hate cleaning the house. I want to hire someone to clean the house. I'm like, fine. I said, but what are you going to do during that hour and a half?
That's my why.
You're going to sit. What's that?
Hiring somebody.
What's that?
I said, that's my why.
There you go.
Hiring somebody to clean my house.
See, but now you need to make use of that hour or hour and a half or 2 hours. You have to replace that with lead generation time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're paying someone to save you a couple hours, let's say, you can't, I guess, unless you're trying to find more relaxation time, but you've got to replace that with business time to qualify for paying for it and adjusting for it. Now, if you're working too many hours a week and all that, might be a different story. However, what is that? We all have the same amount of time during the day. Gary Keller has the same 24 hours that I have, that you have, that everybody else has. Who's being more efficient with their time? And that's, again, time blocking and making yourself more efficient. So, hiring people is great, but what are you going to do with that time? And just in the enjoyment out of not having to do it, and go from there. So, other ahas? Maybe things you're going to do differently or look at? I put the MREA P&L comparison in the chat box, so everyone has that now.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Click on it and download it. It's so simple. It calculates it for you, and it tells you what you should be comparing it to. So that's a beautiful thing.
All of this is in the MREA. I'm going to dig into the book again and read it again.
You should, yep. It's also, I don't know if it's downloadable. I don't know, a lot of people like to listen to books or have them in the car. There is the audio. You probably buy it on CD on Amazon for probably just a couple of bucks. However, but reading it's good, studying it and breaking it down. And so here, hang on.
I don't know.
I don't know if you can see that. I have some of my favorite pages paper clipped and highlighted and marked. I have a few more. I don't even know where they are. I have so many of these. I've made copies of my favorite pages, all kinds of stuff.
I've got tabs of sticky notes.
There you go. Same thing with the shift and what have you. Now we talk about the elements of goals. If we all did this every single day, 5 days a week, added 10 contacts, 10 conversations, 10 handwritten notes, and 10 previews per week. If we all did that every single day, 5 days a week, in the next 3-4 months, we'd have more business than we ever knew what we could do with. You know, the Ignite, and there's came 443 before that. You know, they said it's to get you to 15 transactions or 16 transactions. If you did this every single day, you would be up to 30 transactions without a problem. If you added 10 contacts a day and had 10 conversations, true conversations live a day with people, you'd be good. You know, when they said it should be 20 a day, James Shaw's bumped it up, said it should be 40 a day. You did that, you'd be a millionaire real estate agent, because it's about contacts. Okay? And one other thing is we need to make sure we're working on our scripts and dialogues. I'm always working on them. When I was, well, even a not so new agent, my boys knew Brian Buffini and Floyd Wickman and what have you. That's why they're such good arguers with me, is they grew up having a lot of, they were tapes probably back then. Some might have been CDs. When we were playing them in the car. I played them in the car all the time. When I was going to appointments or I was going on showings, I'd pop in scripts and dialogues and work on them in the car when I was going here, there, and everywhere, because I wasn't finding people to necessarily do scripts and dialogues. But we need to be doing more of that. Every Monday morning at 8:30, we have a scripts practice class. Beginning of the year, it started out real strong, and just like as I kidded with gym memberships, it's died down now that we hit February. But we need to practice what we say. Language is the main tool of our business. You know, the little things you learn, like, I love sharing the one, people say, hey, does the fireplace work? Well, if I find out that the fireplace works, you're going to buy the house. And then I remember one time they said no. And I'm like, then why do I care if the fireplace works or not? Nothing personal. Oh, we were just wondering. Well, I'm not going to waste my time, your time, or their time. Then can you find out how old this is? Okay, depending on how old it is, you like the house enough to buy it. Yes, cool, let's proceed. I mean, it's little things like that. That's where you pick up and learn in scripts and dialogue. It's an easy conversation. It's an easy question. But that's what most of it is asking the right questions. So we all need to make sure we're working on our scripts, and depending on what's going on, being able to say it. Right now, especially with the pandemic, everything else, how are you? How's your family? Is there anything I can do to help? Those are the best ones to do when you're calling people. How are you? How's your family? Anything I can do to help? I talk about my buddy from grammar school, that he was on my mind. I call him, and I caught him at a really bad moment. I said, hey, Ed, how you doing, man? Was thinking about you. And I got silent. His comment was, Joe, you don't know how much I needed this call today. I mean, for the past year, that's one of the most powerful conversations I've ever had. I don't know what's going on in his noggin. And we started talking. He's like, it's been bad. I got laid off of my job. I'm embarrassed. I've never not worked in my 56 years alive. Well, I said, hey man, you joined millions of others. Why are you feeling bad? And I don't feel bad about that. He broke up with his longtime girlfriend a couple months earlier. Now he's cooped up in his condo, just his four walls, and unemployed when he's never been unemployed in his life. He needed a call. And that's what we're about. So care, concern, common sense. So, but those calls, how you doing? How's the family? What's going on? How can I do to help? That earns you the right to call them another 3 months later and say, hey, we're low on inventory. Who do you know that I can help sell their house or think about selling or buying? Now's the time. Interest rates are at historic lows. So we need to make sure we're doing that. We're showing who we are and how we do care. I mean, everyone on there, who's the best realtor on this call? Everyone should be raising their hand. It's me. And who's going to take care of them, of anyone that you know better than you? Nobody, right? And that's what you should believe, and that's what you know in your heart. That's what it is. No one's going to take care of anybody better than you. Not a Joe Morella, not a Sheena, and anybody else. It's you. And we need to make sure we're conveying that. And scripts, dialogues, working on what we're saying and how we say it is the way to get better at that. So don't forget that part of your business as well. Any other questions? Hey guys, get your P&Ls together, get your goals. If you haven't set your goals for the year, I'm pointing at this, it's a simple form. You can just pull it up. It's the business planning clinic. And it shows you how you can break down sell sides, buy sides, when it does that simple math for you. It's probably on command as well. But if you need any help with any of that, see me, see Antoinette, see any of us. We're happy to get going. Any other questions or anything?
I just want to share, Joe.
Go ahead, Antoinette.
No, I love what you said about reaching out to people. I do that all year long. I make mental notes of things that are important to my clients, whether they're having a baby, whether there's a birthday. I mean, you guys know how you lead generate, but it's not always just asking for the business. It's asking how they're doing. It's sending them a resource that if there's somebody who works out and I come across a class that, I send them all kinds of stuff. I'm constantly thinking about them, and I always give meaning to my ask. So when I am asking for something, not just my why, there's a why behind my ask too. So when I'm asking for anything, whether it's a favor, whether it's a referral, whatever, I think about why am I asking, and it makes it more comfortable. I know that's the awkward part about trying to ask for business. You know what I mean? Because we're like, oh, okay, I've just, so I don't know. I love what you said about reaching out, the guy who needed you that day or the friend. I found people say the same thing to me. You put a smile on my face just because you sent a text and said thinking about you, or, and then they think about you later when you do, and you built that comfort level to go in for the ask for the business, for the referral,
Right.
for anyone they know that's selling or buying. So it's not just about you, it's about them too. I love it.
Thanks. Now, what was the, we were going to have you teach that class and then the pandemic hit the class?
Oh, the art of asking. Yes. And I do that.
There we go.
I actually have I'm publishing my own little booklets on the art of asking. So that's a class that I've taught that just helps people build the comfort in asking, not just for business and real estate, but in anything, for asking for help. Mary Kay, you talked about, getting, maybe your why is going to be hiring somebody to help clean. I mean, sometimes, I ask for help. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed and I got to realize I just got to ask for the help to, whether it's my house, whether it's cleaning, whether it's groceries, whether it's whatever, and not just put it all on myself, which takes away from making money and being profitable and all that other. So, because women, we take care of everything and everyone. So yes, the art of asking is about business, personal, everything in life, all encompassing. So I'll put it together and I'll share it.
Excellent. Anything else? Now I can say that. Anything else, ladies? I am the only guy on the call. Got all these super moms with me.
Nothing. It was a great class and I learned a lot. Thank you, Joe.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're welcome.
I'll have to go back and listen to it. I missed the first part of it. I accidentally hit the updates on my laptop, and so I was trying to watch it from my phone, and it was a little hard to see.
Yes, gotta love Windows updates.
And I was just gonna say something to Antoinette's real quick. There's a saying, and I don't remember the whole thing, but I know part of it is, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
There you go. That is 100% true. Don't know unless you ask. All right. Okay, thank you, everybody. I
Thank you
appreciate.
so much,
Oops,
Joe.
Thank
whoops,
you.
I meant to hit stop thing. Stop recording. There we go.